We live so much of our lives online, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about how secure any of it actually is? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the invisible battle that's raging 24/7 to protect our digital world. Welcome to the great crypto arms race.
Okay, so let's just start with this, because it absolutely nails a huge misconception about security. You've got this guy, presumably an IT expert, on a packed train, just loudly announcing his credit card number. But it's okay, right? Because he's telling the person on the phone to use a 128-bit SSL connection. He's so focused on this one technical detail that he's completely ignoring the most obvious threat in the room, which is everyone in the room. It's hilarious, but it's also a perfect reminder that real security is way more than just big fancy numbers.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? If even the so-called experts can get it so wrong, what is the right advice? How are we supposed to know if the digital locks we rely on every single day are actually strong enough? Not just for today, but for what's coming tomorrow? Well, let's figure that out. First things first, to understand this whole arms race, you've got to understand the weapons. We're talking about the fundamental tools, the real building blocks of all modern digital security.
All right, let's break down the toolkit. You've basically got three main players. There's symmetric encryption, like AES. The analogy here is perfect. It's like a secret diary with one single key that both locks it and unlocks it. Simple, effective. Then you have asymmetric encryption. This is more like a personal mailbox. It's got a public slot so anyone can drop a letter in, but only you have the private key to actually open it up and read what's inside. And finally, you have hashing. Think of this as a unique digital fingerprint for your data. It's how you can be 100% sure that a file you downloaded is the real deal and hasn't been messed with. These three are the bedrock of pretty much everything.
So how strong do these locks actually need to be? Well, this table lays out what the experts consider the gold standard right now, something that should keep us safe until about 2030. That bit number, you can think of it like the thickness of a steel vault door. For something like AES, 128-bit is pretty good. 256-bit is even better. But now look at this. Look at the huge difference with asymmetric encryption. The older standard RSA needs a key that's over 3,000 bits long. Meanwhile, the newer elliptic curve method, ECC, gives you the same level of security with just 256 bits. It's an awesome example of how security is evolving. It's not just about brute strength, it's about using smarter math. And this is where things get really interesting. See, these recommendations, they aren't just pulled out of thin air. They exist for one reason. There is a constant, full-blown war going on between the people who make the locks and the people who are trying to pick them.
And this war has real milestones. Back in February 2020, it was announced that an 829-bit number was factored. Now that might sound abstract, but what it means is that an RSA key of that size was effectively broken. A huge deal.
But the pace was just accelerating. Just a couple of months before that, in December of 2019, another common type of key, this one at 795 bits, was also cracked.
And then, in June 2020, they broke an elliptic curve key. Now, 114 bits might sound tiny in comparison, but because of how ECC works, cracking it took a monumental amount of computing power. It was proof that, given enough time and resources, nothing is completely unbreakable.
So it all boils down to this one simple truth. Security is a moving target. What was a super secure, ironclad lock 10 years ago could be a flimsy padlock today. As our computers get exponentially faster, our digital locks have to keep getting stronger right along with them. It's a race that literally never ends.
Which, makes you wonder, who decides? Who is it that gets to say what's strong enough and what isn't? Well, thankfully, it's not just a bunch of guesswork. There are global councils of experts whose entire job is to watch these trends and set the standards that keep us all safe.
And here's the peek into their world. This chart compares the recommendations from a bunch of different global agencies. Germany's BSI, America's NIST, and the NSA. And you don't need to read the German to see the pattern here. Just glance at the numbers. While the specifics might differ a little bit here and there, the big picture is incredibly consistent. They are all seeing the exact same threats on the horizon, and they're all pushing in the same direction.
And that's really the key takeaway. It doesn't matter which country or which three-letter agency you're looking at, the message is crystal clear, and it is unanimous. Our keys need to get longer, and our algorithms need to get smarter. We have to constantly be improving our defenses.
So, up to this point, the arms race has been pretty predictable, right? Computers get faster, so we make the math problems harder and the keys longer. But what happens when a completely new type of weapon enters the battlefield? A weapon that could just change all the rules overnight.
First, Let's just recap the evolution we've already seen. For the longest time, RSA was king. But as we saw, it's a bit of a brute. It needs these massive 3,000+ bit keys to stay secure. The new guard, elliptic curve cryptography, or ECC, is way more elegant. It gets you that same rock-solid security with a key that's just a fraction of the size, which makes it way faster and more efficient for our devices. It proves that progress is about being smarter, not just bigger.
And now, here is the giant, looming plot twist. What happens when a new kind of computer, a quantum computer, finally comes online? A machine that doesn't care about our current rules. A machine so powerful it could potentially shatter the very math that both RSA and ECC are built on, making all of our best locks totally useless.
Well, that terrifying thought is exactly why we have post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. A better way to think of it is quantum-resistant algorithms. This is a whole new family of security tools built on completely different types of math problems that experts believe will be tough for any computer to solve, whether it's the one on your desk or a futuristic quantum machine. We're essentially trying to build tomorrow's locks today.
And make no mistake, this isn't some far-off sci-fi concept. The transition is actively being planned. We're expecting the first official standards to be ready around 2027. Now, some of the timelines out there, like the French goal of a full switch by 2030, are seen as, well, a little optimistic. But when you see a hard deadline like the NSA's, getting their critical systems quantum-resistant by 2035, you know this threat is being taken very, very seriously. The race is definitely on.
So we end up right back where we started, but now we see the whole battlefield. Securing our digital lives isn't a one-and-done job. It's a relentless, high-stakes arms race. You've got the code makers, the cryptographers, building stronger, smarter locks. And on the other side, you have the code breakers, constantly searching for a weakness, now with the promise of quantum computers on their side. And it leaves us with one crucial question. Are we building the locks for tomorrow's world fast enough? Thanks for joining me.